lead role for a long time. It became trending to put black people in movies. We are complaining about not even being receiving accolades. The Hollywood liberals, Facebook liberals, Instagram liberals, Twitter
so that means they're not really liberal, right?
No, they are liberal. These are political parties. No, go trace the money.
They're still
discriminating us. Okay. See,
if they're still discriminating against us to get
this
so
is the thing.
far,
how can they be liberal? I believe in smoke and mirrors. You believe in smoke and mirrors. These people are not for us, is what I'm saying. The Democrats are not for us. But that's what I'm saying. No, you're not. You said the country would be ran. You said the country would be ran better.
Either party is for us. I don't think either party is for us.
All right, next thing I wanted to say, right?
I'm a Republican. I don't think either party is for the embetterment of black people.
You said you vote.
This might come as a surprise, but in the history of the modern world, there has never been a communist country. While a number of countries have described themselves as communist, for example, China and North Korea, by definition, there has never been a true communist country. So, what exactly is communism, and how does it relate to socialism? Well, it may be easier to explain what the two have in common. Both ideologies originate from a desire to limit worker exploitation and lower or eliminate the influence of economic classes in society. There are dozens of variations on both communism and socialism based on the different ways these ideologies are implemented in different countries. There's Stalinism, Leninism, Trotskyism, Maoism, and others which are essentially all versions of Marxism, coupled with various styles of revolution. Karl Marx was an economist and philosopher who co-wrote the Communist Manifesto, among other foundational books on communism. In short, his theories centered around the idea that as Europe transitioned from centralized monarchies to quasi-democratic capitalist economies, workers were being exploited by those who owned the means of production. So if you work in a factory or on a farm, as many at the time did, whoever owns the factory or farm is getting more out of the worker than they're putting in. This creates an inherent inequality, giving the owners, who Marx called the bourgeoisie, power over the workers, called the proletariat. In Marxism, to fix this inequality, society must shift towards a model where the proletariat hold this power instead, by collectively controlling the means of production. That's where socialism and communism come into play. According to Marx, socialism is a precursor to communism and the next logical step after capitalism. In socialism, a democratic state controls the means of production, rather than having private companies hold ownership. Instead of competing with each other as in a capitalist society, socialism has workers contribute as much as they can to the greater good, and then they all share equally in that good. Variations of this idea are already popular within capitalist societies in the form of universal healthcare, or social services like fire departments and schools funded by taxes. While the use of these services is unequal, everyone is equally responsible for contributing to them based on their ability or level of income. So that's socialism. But once the state controls all the means of production, the next step is total collective ownership, not just of production, but all aspects of society and economy, including private property. The intention of abolishing private property is a classless, moneyless, and stateless society, where everyone works towards the same collective goal of being healthy, happy, and free. Everybody does what they can to contribute and takes only what they need in return. As I said before, there are no true communist countries, and there never have been. Every so-called communist country is actually a socialist country, with the state controlling employment and economy to some degree. Even the widely referred to Communist Russia was actually called the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. In short, socialism and communism are not altogether different. Rather, most schools of economics consider socialism to be a precursor to communism once the state has enough control over society and economy. But this total control is a major reason that socialist countries struggle to reach this ideal. Corruption is rampant in countries like the former USSR, Venezuela, Vietnam, and North Korea, largely due to people in power abusing that power instead of
communists. America's, I'm not sure why you looked this up, but it's not to prove me wrong. But I do want to just state that China, right, their party is called the Chinese Communist Party. So whether this white guy says one thing or another, he can define it as however he wants. Chinese call their government, it's called the CCP, and it's called the Chinese Communist Party. You look that up. Now, if you want, so I think you should have looked at was communist versus democracy, right? Because we're not a socialist country, but we're not socialist. We're not a socialist country. Or you can look up socialism and capitalism. We're capitalist, but we're not socialist.
Have you ever heard of the American Communist Party?
Huh? No, we have the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, and the Libertarian Party, the Green Party.
Do some research on it.
No, but what I'm telling you is,
what up, man?
That China calls itself right now.
I think you should do some research.
Their party is called. Okay, so if the Chinese say that they're communists, how can this guy tell them that they're not? When the Chinese government is called the Chinese Communist Party.
You should. Obama identifies as black. You tell Obama that he's not black.
Oh my gosh! Why do you keep
saying?
What?
I think you tell Obama he's not black.
You like to say sensationalized things, so people are like, "What she say?"
Yeah, ain't you think we said Obama's not black? So.
But we're not socialists. If we were a socialist country, I wouldn't even stay in this country.
Under capitalism.
Yeah, capitalism, democracy. Well, I'm not looking for that word. What is that word I'm looking for? Forgot. But yeah, we are capitalists. So if you looked up capitalism versus maybe I guess socialism or communism, you'll see a whole different. Like we're none of these. But I don't think this guy can tell China what they are. The Chinese named their government Chinese people.
If we'd have put Bernie in, we would be moving more towards socialism.
Socialism.
He was a self-proclaimed socialist.
Yeah, he was.
A great thing for everyone.
Man, what's wrong?
Well, will we lose quality though? I mean, if everything's free, I think the quality would go down.
Would the doctors change?
Yeah, because some people would quit.
The doctor not.
Many people will quit.
Why would they quit if they're getting the same salary?
Because in private you get more than you would in public. Because
no, you
don't.
You
know how socialism works? Yes, you don't know how socialism works, right? Socialism says we're all equal no matter how much effort you put in. So if I worked harder than you, but we're at the same position or at the same job, you're going to get paid the same as me, no matter that I'm putting in more work than you.
Yeah. Again, I said healthcare would be a great thing. I didn't say anything about all of us being socialism.
Don't backtrack. You asked me why people would quit, and a doctor could quit because maybe the doctor does more work than, like, let's say a primary care doctor might do less work than say a surgeon on, whatever. Like, but you think they should get a check across the board from the government? No, you get probably more money in your private practice than you would from the government. If you guys are so willing to give the government so much power, it's crazy to me.
In those countries that give those doctors jobs and pay those doctors work, those are the kinds of countries that people run away from to a self-pay country in order to get their work done because those people don't take their job as serious as they do over here.
People running from the UK.
People come over here from Mexico. Mexico, you can go get it done cheap as hell. A lot of their shit's free.
And a lot of us run there
to go get it. Canada.
Just check Canada, because Canada got. I was about to say Canada has
Canada for free to get. They get their shit done there for free. They come
right, and they still come over because it's quality. You just check Canada and see how their taxes run too. How many? Let me tell you something, K-Love. Somebody's paying for it. And if you guys want free programs, guess what? Taxes go up. How do you think that when people don't understand how taxes
pay for it? Our taxes pay for
right.
a lot
So if you want more free programs, it's going to go from the maximum being 30% to about 70%.
Especially mental health care.
In this country pay 90% of its taxes. The top 1% pay 90% of this country's taxes.
Yes,
and the 1% and the 1%
health care.
Didn't they?
If you're going to offer free health care and free everything across the board, all these entitlements that people feel they really need, then all you have to do is be willing to pay the same that they do. not
And they're
same
not going
money,
to.
the same percentage. So since they pay 70% in tax,
which they
you gotta
don't,
pay
because they get a
70%
lot of
in
tax
tax.
breaks and they have a lot of loopholes. So
You
none
all
of them
can
are
get
paying
tax breaks.
70%.
You get tax breaks. Do you have
But
kids?
even with
Do you
No,
have
I
kids?
don't have
You get a
children.
tax break on them kids.
I don't have children.
Well,
Why do I have to have kids?
right. No, because listen, I don't have kids. And I pay a shit ton of money in my taxes. I pay up
So
to
do
30,
I.
I think it was 32%, right? In taxes, because it's based on the money you make. Now, when you're talking about a sliding scale, there's a tax sliding scale of 10 to 37, right? And then you get tax breaks. You get the write-off stuff based on property, based on kids, based on a lot of different things. So people with kids, that's technically a tax break. I mean, or whatever you want to call it.
But that's not a.
Hold on. You asked me why I asked you about kids. That's why.
How much do you guys get taxed?
Pay attention.
They see him as a special. Well, the American Communist Party is formed in 1919. Many people in the industrial workers of the world, or the IWW, a syndicalist organization, helped form the American Communist Party. Many foreign nationals joined this party, and they're all, of course, inspired by the Russian Revolution. There is a split in the party. You have the American Communist Party and another party, but they both joined in 1920. And it's a small organization. But once Lenin gives the edict that it is the job of American communists to work for national liberation, the American Communist Party then dedicates itself to this cause and targeting, in particular, African Americans, who they see as a especially oppressed population. So they recruit blacks and they move them quickly up the ladder into the Communist Party. And the Communist Party attract support from African Americans. But what helps the American Communist Party is sensational events, and one of them being the Scottsboro case in 1931, where 9 young men ranging from the ages 14 to 21 were arrested and accused of raping 2 white women on the train. They were part of this great mass of humanity riding the rails, going from town to town looking for jobs. So once they are arrested and they're accused of rape, they are quickly tried in Scottsboro, and all except for the youngest one are sentenced to death.
This is a small group of people that started a party. Anybody could start a party. I said the Chinese government is called the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. It's not just a little party. It's actually, it runs their government. It's their government. This is anybody. I could start a party. Like there's a black party or a political party that don't have no thing behind it. Like this is not. I'm sorry.
I think it's interesting. Hold on a second. Let me say this.